At this point, you do.
We'll live with that. The first thing I have to do is a roll call, I believe. First of all, we call the meeting to order. And I have 10:37.
39 I've got.
10, can we settle on 10:38?
Yeah.
Sure.
And a roll call will be conducted by the presiding chair. So Sal, could you please report in, say hello?
Hello.
And Tony
Hello.
and Russell. You have to unmute, Russell. Russell, we're just waiting for you to say good morning or hello. Ah,
Can you hear me now?
yes. Thank you.
Okay, I'm just going to leave this thing as it is then.
Good.
Sure. And I don't know that I have to confirm, but Kristen and Graham are also here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now I have to read a couple of pages of text. This meeting of the board or this meeting of the committee of the board is being held virtually with all meeting participants attending via electronic communications in order to adhere to the provincial health officers' orders respecting physical distancing requirements as a measure to prevent the transmission of COVID-19. Directors will be involved in and participate in the meeting. For the closed portion of the meeting, which we don't have, directors confirm that they are alone and that the meeting can only be heard and seen by them. If available, directors will wear headphones for the closed portion of the meeting. Directors are to identify themselves when advising the chair that they wish to be placed on the speakers list, and this will be done by raising their hands. The chair will record the order in which the hands are raised and will allow the directors to speak in the order in which they are recorded. I think Graham would help me with that if it was necessary. If directors are unable to raise their hands due to being in audio mode, like Russell, they will verbally advise the chair of their intention to speak. Directors will mute their device unless they wish to speak. The chair may also choose to mute the microphones, and the directors may unmute the microphones on their own accord when required. With respect to a vote, directors are only required to state a nay vote. Directors attending the meeting are required to verbally advise the chair of when they leave the meeting and return to the meeting so that this can be recorded in the minutes of the meeting. For clarity, if a director does not verbally advise the chair but is observed to be absent from their video feed and their video feed remains turned on and it is unclear to staff whether they are present in the meeting, the director will be marked absent from the meeting until such time as staff observes the director to reappear in the video feed. Directors will text message the Chief Administrative Officer, CAO, that will be Kristen, if they have a technical difficulty with their computer or telephone, i.e. they need to be reconnected to the meeting. If directors are unable to text the CAO, the directors will email the chair. That wouldn't work so well for this meeting because I wouldn't be on email. If a technical difficulty, sorry?
Are you aware that I just disappeared for a few minutes?
I
my screen
was.
went blank. And it just came back automatically, so I don't know what happened.
I'm reading through the virtual board meetings policy.
Okay.
I'm up to H. I can certainly start again if that's the wish of.
No, that's fine. As long as that's not contrary to any rules, I'm fine.
If a technical difficulty occurs, then it becomes apparent that a director has become disconnected from the meeting. The meeting will be recessed until the connection status of the director has been determined, at which time the meeting will be reconvened with or without the director present, providing the meeting's quorum is maintained, which will be a challenge for us. We all need to be here. Directors who declare a conflict of interest in respect of an agenda item will be directed to the virtual waiting room while the board considers the agenda item. Once the board completes its consideration of such agenda item, the director will be readmitted to the virtual meeting room. And Graham is managing that for us. Directors who are present within the virtual waiting room are asked to stay at their computer or otherwise remain present and connected to their computer if possible for the entire duration of their time in the waiting room so as not to miss their readmittance into the virtual meeting room. If possible, any chat functionality of the application will be disabled, and if it is not possible to be disabled, directors will not use this chat functionality during the meeting. Okay?
Very good. So is Russell with us still or not?
I hope so.
I'm here.
Oh, great.
Okay. So the next item is to approve the agenda.
Move that.
Moved by Tony and seconded by Sal. All in favor? Approved. Or should I just say opposed? Anyway. Number 3 is the item of the Electoral Area Directors Committee closed meeting, and I believe we have no closed meeting. So we move to item 5, the consent agenda.
Yeah, I need to pull 5.2.1, which is the select funds report.
Okay. So that will get moved then to Kristen. I need your help. Where do we put that? With staff? reports?
7.2.
7.2.
Yeah.
So 5.2.1. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else to be pulled? And if not, could we have a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda?
Yeah, I'll move that.
And that's moved by Director Rainbow, followed by Director Demare. Any opposed? Okay, then we move on to business arising from the minutes. Item 6, anything? Yay, item 7, staff reports and other business. I will mute myself and take a drink of coffee.
I don't have anything, so don't mute yourself for too long.
Okay, in that case, then we'll look at 5.2.1, Director Rainbow.
Okay, I'm just looking at the Area D portion of the select funds. And I have a few little motions here. Okay, so Kristen, I should do these separately, should I not? I'll do them separately. Okay, so I'm moving that the $408.24 remaining of the $1,000 biennial salmon run signage be returned to the available funds for electoral area D. So, you know, I had approved up to 1,000, and there's $408.24 unspent and will not be spent. So I want it put back into the general select fund account. So that's my motion.
Okay, I can second that. Did you have a chance to record it, Kristen?
Yeah, Kristen's got all these.
Okay, okay. Good, proceed. Any opposed? Do we have to vote on each one?
Yeah,
Okay, then any opposed? Motion approved.
okay, second one, that the $3,424 remaining of the up to $40,000 for self-contained breathing apparatus and face masks be returned to Area D select funds. Same rationale as the first one.
I'll second that. Any opposed? Carried.
The third one is the $800 for the room rental. And that, two things there. The meeting was actually cancelled, but prior to it being cancelled, Marie Lou came up with a different source of funds to pay for the meeting, so, which was good. So that 800 again can go back. So my resolution is that from the February 2020 EAD committee meeting in respect of an allocation of up to $800 for room rental and expenses for a bear awareness education session in Furry Creek be rescinded as the alternative funding source has been identified. And again, Kristen has that.
And move back into your general.
Yeah, just move it back into general fund.
Second, all in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And then, okay. Regarding there's a $40,000 for the Furry Creek spit. Oh, what the heck happened? My screen's jumping around again. Yeah, what I had was $40,000 approved from Select and 40,000 approved or recommendation that it come from amenities. So the approval for Select was in case the amenities one didn't go through. Well, the amenities one went through. So now I don't need that Select one. So
And
that
Suzanne's just going to remove that. We don't need a resolution for that one.
you don't need a resolution for it?
No, just the three you did.
Oh. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you needed a resolution for that as well. So
Yeah,
that's
no, sorry.
so
Okay.
I'm all set then. We're going to worry about that $5,000 one later.
Yeah.
So that's it. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm done.
So with those changes, I think we would need a motion then to approve the select funds report with those changes. I can move that, but I'd need a seconder.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Seconded by Director Rainbow. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Now, oh, Sal is waving his hand, so I will go on.
Yeah, I've got a question, Kristen, on that one. So if there were some funds allocated to be taken out of the select funds, they could be moved into the built fund if it was allowed to be done.
Do you mean something that's already been
Approved.
Well, we could talk about that.
Okay.
It might not qualify for pill,
Okay.
which is probably why it's not. It's probably why it's a select fund item.
You're breaking up a little bit, but we can
About that.
have that off
Sorry.
this meeting.
So, sorry, is that better? Yes, give me a call and we can talk about that.
You know, Kristen,
Yes.
I think your audio is better when you turn off your,
Yes.
Ah.
Yes.
Video.
yes. Okay. So actually, I think CAO verbal update, Kristen, is back to you. Was there anything you wanted to update us on?
No, I think I did that before we went into the select funds item. We did 7.1 and then 7.2 was the select funds item report that we just did with those 4 resolutions.
Then we're on to item 8.
8.1, yeah.
And so Director Rainbow, Sea to Sky, Sport Event Society, Whistler Olympic Park.
Yeah, I put in a report on this. I don't know how much, whether you want me to go over any of that or whether you have any questions.
I have some, I personally, I would like to just abstain from voting on this one. I did,
Can't-
and I can do that. Can I do that?
No,
No,
it has to be yay or nay.
Yeah.
Do you have a specific question on that, Vivian?
Well, it's just sort of in the sort of current climate change. I just wonder about the wisdom of spending that massive amount of money on a snowmaking machine. But when I see it's for at least Nordic, and I'm happy that it's electric power, but I just hesitated because it didn't sort of, how has it been approved by UBCM as a way to spend the money?
Well, no, we haven't applied yet. We can't apply without a resolution. So there are 4 categories. Well, there are something like 18 different categories that UBCM have established for the gas tax funding, and it ticks 4 of those. It ticks one for tourism. It ticks the one for recreational infrastructure. Oh, geez, I'm sorry, I haven't got that particular piece.
No, it was in the report. It was in your report. I did see it.
You know, when they first talked to me about it, my first question was, well, my first comment was, if this is powered by diesel or gas, I'm not even going to ask for it. And they assured me that no, it's not. It's all electric. I wanted to know what the life expectancy was, and it's 20 years. Kristen asked me who was going to own the equipment, and it's going to be owned by Whistler Olympic Park, Whistler Sports Legacies, which is a non-profit organization that was set up to maintain the legacy of that whole Whistler Olympic Park. So that was set up in 2010. And where they're at the moment is it's a really balance. They're keeping it in the winter. It's fine. They employ quite a lot of people, and there's a lot of people enjoying the skiing there. In the summer, it's less so. They just don't have as many people using it, and so they're trying to do something about that. With regard to the winter, what this will do is will extend their cross-country ski season by a couple of months, which brings in more revenue, which makes it possible for them to maintain that whole facility. And if you've never been there, it's really worth going. It's world class. It really is world class. And yeah, I get the climate change, but I think within the next 20 years, there's likely to be enough snow for cross-country skiing. That's, I mean, maybe I'll be proved wrong, but and this money, quite frankly, this money is just sitting there. I've tried several times to find a project that would fit. I've never been able to find one. So there's close to $1 million sitting in an account for Area D. And this is the first time something has come up where it qualifies under at least 4 different categories for funding. And I see it, I see that Olympic Park as something worth preserving. And if we can, and I'd like to contribute to that. So,
Tony,
sorry?
Tony, did you hear me? It's Russell.
Yep.
Did you move this already? Okay, I'll second it.
Oh, I haven't quite moved it yet, but I will. So where are my, oh, I've got to go back to the agenda now. No, I've got 3 things here. The EAD approve and recommend to the SLRD board the allocation of up to $150,000 towards the construction of snowmaking equipment at Whistler Olympic Park. The funds are to come from Area D Gas Tax Community Works Funds, subject to approval from UBCM. 2, that the Sea to Sky Event Group Society be informed of the commitment as soon as possible to help them generate the remaining funds required. And I'll speak to that in a minute. And then 3, that immediately on approval, the sum of 25,000 be released to pay for the necessary engineering costs involved with the project. Now, Kristen, I've looked at that with regard to the second one. The idea of them having their commitment, not having the funds, but knowing that we've passed this resolution to commit the funds, or when the board does, if the board does. If they have a letter from us saying there's 150,000 bucks committed, then the effect of that will be that when they go to the federal government, provincial government, to industry, to private donors, it will help them generate the rest of the money. It will really kickstart their fundraising for it. The third piece, I didn't get to talk to you about this, Kristen, but I don't know if we'll be able to, well, let's leave it the way it is. And if we're unable to do that, then I'll figure out another way of doing it. Let's not complicate the discussion right now.
Director Sell?
Yeah, Tony, I got one question for you. In the report, it stated that the request was 100,000 and
Yeah.
and you've upped it to up to 150,000. Just
Yeah.
could you explain that, please?
Yeah, it was a personal thing. I didn't tell them, give them any indication of how much I thought they should apply for, and they applied for 100. And I looked at the budget, and it's about 450 plus, and the cost of the snow guns, the guns themselves, is around 150. And so I thought I would like to contribute enough to pay for the snow guns, and that there could be suitable recognition of the SLRD, visible plaque of something like that at the site, so that it was rather than 100 towards this 450, do 30% of it and specify that our funding is paying for the guns. So that's where it came from. I contemplated sending it back to Norman and saying, hey, resubmit and change the amount to 150, but I thought, no, I'll just do it this way.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so that was moved by Director Rainbow and seconded by Director Mac Sal. Are you indicating support, or is it another question? You're on mute, Sal.
It's support. I'll
Okay.
second it.
So all in favor? I think we're all in favor. I'm not going to vote against this, so there's none against. Carried.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And 8.2 is Canada Gap Food Safety Program. You will have seen the letter from, or it was an email as background from Bev Grosler, who is a small producer in our area. I wanted to bring this requirement, this very onerous program. GAP stands for Good Agricultural Practices, and it is expensive and onerous for all the producers, but that is particularly difficult for the small producers. I'm worried that they won't be able to meet the financial and bureaucratic requirements of this massive manual and these hundreds of pages and hours of reporting required, for example, to sell a small item at a farmer's market or a local store. So I would like this to go to definitely the Area B Agricultural Advisory Committee, and possibly, Tony, you might want it to go to the Sea to Sky as well, just as a concern, as a big barrier to successful marketing of local fruits and vegetables. I don't have a resolution so much as I wanted that action to come out of this.
So there's concern in area B, the agricultural producers there about this new program.
Definitely.
And well, and so your area, your committee is looking at it, are you? The AAC in area B? Are they
The
gonna come?
AAC in Area B doesn't have a meeting scheduled, but I think that this would be something that should be considered by the Area B AAC. And I would think that it would be of interest to the Sea to Sky group as well.
Could we not have a motion that we would like the 3 agricultural advisory, well, no, we haven't got 3, the 2 agricultural advisory committees and the District of Squamish Area D agricultural group, let's call it that, because there isn't actually an advisory committee yet, to consider this and bring recommendations to the board? Could we do that?
I would second that. I would appreciate that motion.
Russ, what do you think about Area C? Does that fit?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good idea, Tony. Who moved that? Did you move it?
Well, I was just
Yes.
thinking, I was just thinking it through. I don't have to move it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because,
it's not
I
moved
heard
yet.
Vivian,
Oh, okay.
okay,
Okay.
I'll move it. Vivian second.
So the motion, to be clear, because Kristen's holding up her hands, that the GAP food safety program be referred to the agricultural committees in B and D, and you're saying Squamish Pemberton, Tony, is the third?
No, it's
No,
Squamish.
it's Area C.
We just don't have an
Area
advisory committee yet.
Tony, can I suggest that we just refer it to staff in respect of can we just refer this item to staff to provide some feedback on where it should go? Like, we don't have a committee set up in Area D, so I'm just not sure how you want to give that to them. So if I can get some input from staff, and then we can go from there.
Area D, the agricultural plan is being administered by the Squamish, what are they called? Food Society. So I think it can go to them. And staff are involved in those committees. So but I think the direction that we want from the board is that, or it could go straight from here.
From this committee, we can
Right, Russ.
recommend that staff ensure that the respective agricultural groups in the SLRD. Does that work, Kristen?
What we want the agricultural groups to consider this and bring a recommendation to the board. A recommendation for action.
Okay, so that was sort of moved by Russell and Tony. Are you happy with the wording in that just from Director Rainbow, Kristen?
Yeah.
So seconded by Russell, all in favor, opposed, carried. So that will go to the respective groups working on agriculture through staff, and the recommendation will come back to the board. That would be great.
Yeah.
I won't go on about it. Correspondence for action. Now, I believe for 9.1, oh, Sal, yes?
Yeah, I have to declare for item 1 and item 2 a conflict of interest with with my wife, with a non-pecuniary conflict of interest, and with my daughter with a oh geez, I can't even remember the word now. But also with the indirect pecuniary conflict of interest.
So at this point, then-
may I just ask a question? I don't know if are we allowed to ask questions, Kristen? Because I looked at that and it says Braylorn Community Advisory Committee.
Yeah, it's part of the Bridge River Valley Community Association. So it's a committee under the BRBCA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then at this point, Graham will put Sal in the waiting room.
Go to
And
the
when he
north.
just, and you're to stay there. Okay.
Okay, so Chair,
Yes. Yes, Russell.
I will move 9.1.
Second,
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And
I'll
9.2.
I'll move 9.2.
And I'll second that.
Okay, moved by Director Rainbow, seconded by Director Mack. In favor, opposed, carried. And now I believe we can invite Sal back in. He's probably not even had a chance to get a coffee.
There he is.
Welcome back, Sal.
Thank
Chris,
you.
So Sal, you declared a conflict for 9.1 and 9.2, and what about 9.3?
I'm okay with it.
Perfect.
Okay, then 9.3, I'd like to move the request for funding, the Lillooet Friendship Center Society request funding of $2,500 from Area A Select Funds towards the cost of COVID-19 bridge. River Valley Community Support Program to provide groceries to full-time residents of the Bridge River Valley in need of assistance over the coming weeks. I'll move that.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Director Mack. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. 9.4, I'd like to move the Lillooet Sheep Pasture Golf Club request funding of $2,500 from Area B Select Funds to assist with the purchase of a golf cart work unit for groundskeeper and maintenance workers to transport. Oh, Tony, yes? Are you seconding that?
No, I probably will, but Sheep Pasture Golf Club, what the hell is that?
Well, it's this lovely, hokey little golf course that is out the Texas Creek Road. It is in Area B, and it's run by a local group of very dedicated people. And it's actually this beautiful integration of the First Nations and non-First Nations. Everyone golfs, and they also graze sheep on the pasture, and people golf around them. And once in a while, a sheep does get hit by a golf ball. It's not a problem. And they're actually opening up again, and people are really looking forward to being able to golf. And I'm trying to support them with the purchase of a golf cart.
I
And
think that's excellent.
so this is just to help in the application to a larger application to the Agri-Spirit Fund of Canada. And so I'll move that.
It'd be a bit like the golf course I played in Kenya, where you didn't have sheep, but they had goats and the occasional cow and monkeys. And one time I was waiting on the tee box, and my Kenyan friend said, "Come on, off you go." And I said, "No, there's somebody on the fairway." And he started laughing, and then the other Kenyans all started laughing, and they said, "No, it's a bird." Well, it was a bird,
Well,
but it was 6 feet tall. It was a stork. I'd never seen anything like it before. But anyway, so the Lillooet Sheep Pasture Golf Club, I'll second whatever the movement was, what motion was.
thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. 9.5, Lillooet Secondary School, funding of $3,000 from Area B Select to be dispersed by the committee to enable students to continue with post-secondary education. I'd like to move that.
Second,
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. In favor, opposed, carried. And we have one more item. So we've got Feed the Need from Director Rainbow, but do I do item 10 first with the late business? And I see Patricia has just joined us. So I'll just be quiet. And Kristen?
Only if we have additional late business. I'm not aware of any additional late business.
Good. So then we look at feed the need, which is item 11.1. Good. Okay.
Patricia, did you want to just tell people how we want to spend this money?
Sure. So one of the contractors that we've been able to bring in to do some work for us through the COVID-19 EOC response put together a bit of a campaign for us to support the Feed the Need campaign, which is the project between the SLRD and Sea to Sky Community Services in Squamish to raise funds for all of the food banks from Squamish all the way to Lillooet. So Andrea worked on a campaign which included some social media posts and a couple of videos, which have been really great. And we've been sharing those on our Facebook page, and the municipalities have also been sharing. And then organizations like Helping Hands in Squamish and Sea to Sky Community Services and the Lillooet Friendship Center and so on have all been sharing. So it's getting some really great traction. Andrea has quite a bit of experience in this realm, and she approached us about putting some money behind some Facebook ads just to amplify the message. So it's a really inexpensive way to just further broadcast that message and make sure it's getting out to as many people as we can. So she had felt that a budget of about $25 a week would help. I think that's probably one ad. So again, very inexpensive. Chair Rainbow has been really involved in this initiative. So I had asked him about that, and he then suggested this approach. So that's where we're at. And we could implement that very quickly. And it really just helps, broaden the reach of our message and get it out there more. So, and then what we do, I think, is plan to start off with a couple of ads and get a bit of traction, and then do a little bit of an analysis on what we're seeing as a result of that, just in terms of any increased traffic to our Facebook page, for example. And then, of course, ultimately, we want to see lots of donations coming in. So hopefully we'll be able to get a bit of a sense as to how much these Facebook ads would help with that. So this is a bit, the SLRD has in the past used Facebook, paid Facebook advertising for some of the Zero In on Waste initiatives that have been shared on social media. But this is the first time that we would be looking at supporting our SLRD social media messages with paid advertising. Typically, it's just our Facebook page driving those messages. And on a related but not specific to this note, we have reached a couple of big milestones with our Facebook page. We surpassed the 2,000 follower mark this week, and also we're well beyond the 2,000 number of people who are liking our page as well. So we're seeing some really significant growth, and I've been trying to track those numbers a little bit as well, and at some point we'll come back to you with a bit of a information report on that. You know, we're definitely, the COVID-19 messaging has really it's all been very well received and is generating a lot of traffic. So we're the more we continue to regularly post informative messages on our Facebook, we're driving more and more traffic and getting more and more likes and followers. And it's becoming a really a very good engagement tool for us.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. And it's nice to see you too. Sorry, go ahead, Tony Rain.
Well, initially, I was just going to put $100 into this out of my discretionary 500, and then I thought, well, you know, we're covering the whole region, so why not ask each director to kick in 100 at this point? Gives them a budget of 400 to work with. I trust that Patricia will use that wisely and then come back to us in a few weeks, maybe by our next meeting, with some indication of the success or not of paid advertising. And then at some point in the future, we can decide whether we wanted to continue or whether that was enough. But so my request or resolution today is that $100 be allocated from A, B, C, and D select funds for a total of 400.
I'll second that.
Okay, and I see Sal raising his hand. Is it a question, Sal?
Yeah, just a comment. Up here in Area A, the main form of communication is social media. And I've been sharing as much as I can of the SLRD, off the SLRD page. And I presume that there's a number of people that have started liking the page from our area. I hope they would. But it is the primary way that we communicate. We don't have cell coverage here. So there's a lot of Facebook, a lot of different organizations here that use Facebook to get their messages out. So it's a good, very good.
I'm still mourning the loss of print media. Our local newspaper went down in the first week with the lack of advertising revenue. I'm on a little campaign about that. But in the meantime, we'll take the recommendation of the staff, and this seems like a very inexpensive use of money to a good cause. So I'm good with it. So all in favor, Russell? Opposed? Carried. So thank you very much. Kristen?
So I think we'll just cycle through, like the first week you'll take it from area A, Patty, and then the next week from area B, and next week from area C. Is that how you, and then you can report back in a month? Just the logistics of that I'm thinking about.
Yeah, it could look that way. I'll chat with Andrea and just see what her thoughts are around that in terms of the budget. And then we've put together a content calendar for the stories, if you will, that we were thinking of, that we wanted to share throughout this campaign. And we have a lot of footage in terms of, you know, the videos that we can use and the graphics that she's created. So, and we've been in touch with Sea to Sky Community Services to make sure that they're on board with the content calendar as well, and that they can provide us with updates and highlights as the campaign moves forward. And then, but in terms of the ads, I'm not, I'll have to do a little bit of, oh, sorry.
Sorry, I wasn't, sorry, hold on. I was just talking logistically, not what each week's going to look like, but just so that the committee's aware that we'll be allocating $25 from each of their up to $100. Because anyways, not how you're going to roll it out. It's just that when you go to allocate that $25, the first one you'll maybe allocate to the $100 from area A, and the next one you'll allocate to the money from area B, and just cycle through that way. And then you have up to $100. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And that, sorry for my long-winded approach, but that's
okay.
Kind of where I was going, was that in terms of the advertising spend, we'd look at creating a similar, you know, I'll work with Andrea to create a similar, what that might look like, just to break it down a little bit. She had suggested a budget of $25 a week. I'm not sure that that's exact, but we'll work through that and then come back with a bit of a schedule that will show how we plan to spend and move forward. And
Great.
we can, you know, I'm not sure, she'll have a better sense as well of how long we should wait, you know, how many ads we should purchase before we'll get a sense of whether or not this is really having a good ROI. But I'll talk to her, and then we can definitely report back with some more details.
Great, thank you.
And thank you. And I know Area B is a little bit disconnected, and A sometimes from Sea to Sky, but nevertheless, I think this is a good initiative with pretty low costs. So go for it. You know, we can only try. And I really appreciate the extra efforts that have been made around food banks through the SLRD, mostly Chair Rainbow. I think that comes from you. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So we have late business, it says again, director's notice of motion. And the next one is adjournment. Thanks, Patricia. She's
Oh,
gone.
no, I don't want to adjourn yet. This
Oh.
is too early. No, we've got to find a way to go for another 3 hours. Come on now.
Wow.
Okay, well done, Vivian.
Thank you, Chair Matt. Thank you for the honor of being the chair.
The two
Hey,
people,
if you go by that gas station, have a sandwich for me.
yeah.
Okay, that's a deal. I know. I do miss seeing you guys in person. It's not great. This is okay, but it's not as good as meeting in person, that's for sure.
I'm looking forward to seeing a couple of staff people in person. The two people that have been brought on to work with Patricia, their email addresses, one of them is contractor1, and
Yes.
the other one is contractor3. So I've been having fun with that, imagining C3PO and R2D2, you know, little Android, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to expect that Patricia will have those androids on camera with her at some time in the future.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, have a wonderful day. Stay safe, everybody.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Russ. Same to you.
So we'll take that as a motion to adjourn from
Oh,
Director.
I move we adjourn. Yeah.
Oh,
sorry.
all right,
I'll
all right. You said
second
we couldn't. Okay, carried. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Graham.
Okay, bye.
Welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheerio. And I will leave the meeting. Bye, Graham.
Bye, Vivian. Have a good afternoon.
You too.
Thanks.